developer tooling. So in terms of like building flashy DeFi projects or lending platforms, that's not really me. But yeah, I do think the support is there if you really want it. You can go ahead.
What do you feel ICP needs the most right now from contributors?
From a technical standpoint,
Anything.
I think ICP needs what we have here, a community. Exactly. Like
real world application, business applications to bring to the ICP infrastructure
Yeah,
what
from-
it needs.
from-
There's no
from-
real world adoption at this stage around ICP.
yeah, I agree. But I also think it's much more nuanced
Yeah.
than that.
Yeah, but there's got to be an appetite, and Dfinity didn't show that appetite yet until now, right? They're here now,
Yeah.
but until then it was done through, at the top they split, and you know it was right. There was a whole backstory
Yeah.
there. So they're finally here, which is good, and hopefully this forum is the beginning.
Yeah, I think I agree with him. And so community and finding your niche. Like we need to find a place where this technology will be appreciated. And as he said, I think that's probably the best way to go. Finding projects that exist and that could actually benefit from the technology and bringing them onto the ICP stack. Yeah, I think that's the best option.
If there's a project or an application that's currently hosted in like AWS or Azure, would it be able to migrate and still have similar performance?
It depends on the application, right? Because if you have let's say you have a game that's deployed on Azure and it requires like minimal latency, you're not really gonna get that from ICP. I mean, especially if you're using, well, an update call has to complete in like 200 milliseconds, which is like 2 seconds. If it's a query call, I think you have like 0.2 seconds. So it depends. But if you're wanting to, as I said, it depends on the application itself. But it is achievable. If you're talking about like basic like CRUD apps that you need to pull from a database, you can do that easily with orthogonal persistence. So yeah.
So latency is a limitation?
Yes.
And is it going to be solved?
Well, you're limited to the speed of light with distributed computing, with decentralized. So with decentralization, you're really making a trade-off. So you're trading speed for security. What the great thing about ICP is that it still runs at web speed. So you still have comparable performance in terms of speed, but you're still making that, because as I said, the nodes in the subnet have to come to an agreement. They have to talk to each other. They have to come to an agreement. They have to send a message, and it has to be executed. So that's going to take time. So you're going to have that limitation with any decentralized technology.
I'd like to add to that.
Sure.
Like from my perspective as a dev, I think the best thing that ICP has is that like it's all in one as far as the stack. So you can do your storage, your database, and deploy it and host it all there. And that's the main reason why I like decided to play with it. Because before that, I was like hosting here, deploying here, doing database here, storage here. Like, I guess from, depending on how big you are as a team, especially if you're like a solo developer, that's like a major plus.
Okay. You found it easy?
No.
Okay.
It was a learning curve, but it beat the fact that I was already fragmented in terms of what I had to do.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that makes it a lot easier for both the user and the developer, orthogonal persistent that is, because as he said, before it was fragmented. He had to have his database over here and his front end and his back end. Now he has all that integrated into one single stack. Not only can he give the user a really seamless experience, because what would actually happen if your external database experience issues is the entire experience for the user is ruined. So now you can have that all in one place and ensure that it all runs seamlessly. So that's pretty important.
So there's redundancy built in. So if the node you're depending on has an issue, it automatically.
Yeah, so that's where it comes in. I believe it was like 66%. So even if, let's say you have, help me do some math here, 13 nodes in a subnet, I believe you would only need 7 of them to reach consensus, if I'm doing the math correctly. So even if, God forbid, someone bombed your database to try to destroy your company, you still have that the data availability will still be there. Yeah?
Have you had a chance to work with Caffeine AI?
I have not.
Gotcha. How do you anticipate that might change your workflow?
I'm curious to see Caffeine AI first, because as I said, like, there's a lot more nuance than just telling an AI to write something. When I think about like working on ICP, especially for something like, let's say I have a domain name, right? In order to register a domain name with ICP, you need to register it with the boundary nodes. Like, is the AI gonna know that? Is the AI gonna remove itself as a controller from my data? Like, if I tell the AI to deploy software, is it gonna remain a controller of my software? Because that would mean it actually has control over my data, and it could actually be a vulnerability for my system, because they're a controller. If they're a controller, they could transfer it to someone else, they could remove it, they could do a lot of stuff. So I think with Caffeine AI, I need to like see the actual product, use it, feel it out, see what it actually does before I can say, yes, I like it, or no, I don't. I haven't used it, so I can't say.
Makes sense.
Go ahead.
Are there any particular narratives or metas that you're excited about right now in this space?
I would say I'm really a fan of just seeing projects. Whether it be, I think I'm not the most like DeFi oriented person. As I said, I'm like building developer tools. My idea of fun is like building my regular expression engine. So it's different for me. I just want to see actual applications. That's what I want to see. Like this gentleman right here. I want to see actual usage of the technology and not just gallivanting really. I want to see new groundbreaking projects on ICP utilizing the stack and really utilizing what they built, which is, as I said, just a ground up solution for computing. It's really just transformative in that aspect, and I want to see it displayed. That's why I kind of have my idea of like integrating with hardware, because I think the hardware is going to be irrefutable. Like, we can dispute, we can be like, oh, ICP is better than X blockchain. But if I come in front of you and I put this and I'm like, hey, this is a part of the ICP blockchain, and it extends the capabilities, the ICP capabilities is extended to this device, and I can actually record data and store it and modify it all in one place in my canister, I think that's great. Versus just sitting around and actually debating if it's better than other chains. We can actually show it, and it's going to be irrefutable then. So that's what I think.
So if the path to mass adoption is converting Web 2 to Web 3 existing versus net new Web 3, what does Dfinity do, and or this room, or how do we go from converting we're New York representing, right? The Dfinity, they're rolling out the hubs. I attempted some of this in May at the ICP and we had an event, and bringing in the banks, the hedge funds, right? And then it kind of died at the vine because Dfinity wasn't necessarily behind that. It was more ICP which is the other side. So now with Dfinity here, I don't know is anybody here from Dfinity, or who takes back the feedback? Yeah, I mean, I think that next step is hugely important to, if you think and we think that it's from Web 2 to 3, then how do we get behind that in New York, right? And because there's a lot of business to be had here in converting that. So, but we would need Dfinity's help.
Yeah, I think that's where just the community would come in. If there's a voice and it shouts loud enough, I think it will be heard. it's irrefutable if we, as a community, actually put forward the effort to kind of get these systems or clients. If we can have a pool of them, because I think we'd have enough developers. We would, because I think there's a good pool of developers. I know a few. So the work is, or like the talent is there to do it. We just need to get the work in and find that connection between the developers and the actual clients. That's something I think is missing also. Most people that reach out to me would be like over on X. It's not necessarily formal, they're just kind of curious about like the technology, but there's no real formal place for them to go for developers, so that could be a good idea as well. In terms of like the feedback for Definity, Hannah is right there.
No, that's great.
Hannah is right there.
Taking notes.
Yeah, any other questions? Or if anyone just wants to say something, I just want to thank everybody for coming out. It's awesome to just like have a community, awesome to see the people here. And yeah, it takes something to get out of bed and come here, right? You put your clothes on, hopefully. But yeah, you're all here, we're all here, we're enjoying it, we're hopefully learning something. Did anybody learn something here? No?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah? Awesome. At least that guy learned something. Yeah. So yeah, it starts here. It really starts here. You gotta get up. We gotta get out there. We gotta get the people on board. So if anyone here has clients, we have developers. Me. Me. Well, not me, but the community. If you have ideas for projects, I'm pitching myself right now if you can't tell, but if you have an idea and you want to bring it alive on chain, you can talk to me, you can talk to Quantum Leap Labs also. Javier has a great team. He and his CTO Vivek is very, very high quality. Yeah, so just reach out to me.
Is this also still through Austin? There's another guy. I don't know.
Austin, yes, I know Austin as well.
Right. Isn't there two people that run ICP US? Javier and there's another gentleman.
There's somebody else in California who just came.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I'm not
Okay,
sure.
good.
But yeah. Any other questions? No? Anybody want to say something? Because this mic is not only for me. Oh, you have a question?
Yeah, I just want to say something. So you said you're a developer, but you're not, you're not building flashy DeFi protocols. You're more of a tools guy. So I've designed a project. It is definitely a very flashy DeFi project. Just wondering if there's any devs in the house that are more oriented to DeFi. Would love to have a conversation with you.
I mean, I didn't say I don't do DeFi. Fair enough. I didn't say I don't do DeFi.
Yeah, we'll talk.
So what was actually interesting is someone asked me, because there's a guy that wants to do like a coding platform for Motoko, and he wants to do it like a leak code style. And the articles that I wrote were about leak code. So I actually have like 100+ problems that I solved, and he wants to use them. And I was like, are you sure this is gonna be all that helpful to developers in the space, right? And I actually had a question from Definity, and it was like creating a liquidity pool and making sure it's balanced. So, but a lot of people wouldn't know how to do that because it's just the resources are not there to like learn that. So instead of asking like FizzBuzz, you should ask them, how do you balance the tokens in a liquidity pool and managing like the LP tokens? That's something that I think is interesting, because then we actually can give them problems that they'll actually encounter, if you understand. So that'd be a great place to start. I could talk to you. I'm not opposed to DeFi. I just prefer, because I want to show people, and like with DeFi, it's kind of like stigmatized, right? So I kind of want to show them in a different way, because I feel like they don't listen when you're like, oh look, you can get X amount of returns if you put this in a liquidity pool. They're like, what is a liquidity pool? Yeah. So I feel like there's better ways to reach out, but awesome, we can talk. Yeah, anyone else?
With the like the canisters you were talking about,
Yep.
where do you envision that going? Because it sounds like it's kind of like a smart contract like AI, like combined, right?
It can be an AI. If you have a LLM deployed on chain, it's a canister. Like it's inside a canister. Like can you see?
Let me explain what the function of the canister is, because most people don't understand the function.
The function of the canister is to host your state and logic. Like I said, like you have let's say you have a variable within your actor. So inside there is functions and data. The function is the logic, which is add 1 plus 1. Or you have var I equals 0, and you have a function, add, and you put a number in there. It takes an argument for a number, and you will add that number to your variable. And you declare it as let's say you declare it as stable. When you deploy and call the function, let's say you said add 1, I will be 1 now, but if you upgrade it, let's say you clear it, right? You upgrade to a new one, and you increment it again, it will be 2, not 1. It won't start at 0 because it was stored in a database. It can be anything. It can be an LLM, it can be a game, it can be a DeFi smart contract. Canisters encapsulate almost anything. That's what I was trying to convey. And that's why I named my company Canister Software, because I think it's great. I think it's a great technology. Did did you understand what I said, or was that too technical?
No, I did. I was just curious.
Yeah? So yeah, that's really what it is. It's logic and state. Your state is your function. Your state is your data, your user data. The logic, you can modify it with that. Make sense? Does it make sense? Don't just say yes. Because I actually want you to learn something, you know? If I'm not getting across in a way that you can understand, you can tell me. Go ahead.
Can you elaborate on the outcalls, like the HTTPS outcalls?
Yeah, so HTTP outcalls, because blockchains are limited to their system. So a blockchain is a system that records data in a secure manner, right? It previously was not aware of data outside of the network. So like I've been speaking in here,